So I'm sitting in the truck in Fayetteville, Alabama. I have come up here to Harpersville, which is, I think, also in Coosa County. And so I'm only when I got done at Harpersville First Baptist, I'm only a few miles from some important pieces of my family history. And so I came to Fayetteville to see where my grandfather's store was. He had the general store in Fayetteville, and I just met a really nice guy named Lou, who I just pulled up to a gas station. I said, hey, I introduced myself. I said, are you from here? And he said, yeah, I've lived here a long time. And I told him who I was and told him about my dad and my grandfather. And he said, yeah, that store was right here. And he told me how to get here. And he told me he used to come here to fill up his air in his tires when he got out of school. And so I thought that was kind of neat. He didn't specifically remember my granddad, but that was okay. It was just kind of neat to hear him kind of reflect about his life, right, and his experiences. And so right behind me is the Fayetteville school. I started to get out and like film all this, but then I thought, there's nothing here. There is stuff here. There's the volunteer fire departments right there. Lou told me that there's a helipad right here. I'm parked right next to the helipad. Lou told me that's where my grandfather's store was. There's some warehouses and stuff over here, and then there's some houses over here. But there's nothing left of my grandfather's store. There's no remnant of it all. I have the ledgers from that store. It's kind of neat. I have, all the accounts that my grandfather ran and all the credit lines that he extended. And I also have a bunch of stuff from where he, would buy stuff. I guess it's his, maybe invoices from his accounts payable. So it's just kind of neat that I came here on some sort of a quest. I'm not real sure what. I just thought, well, I'm this close and I want to go just see these things again. It's been since I was in college was the last time I was here where the store is. And when I was in college, I remember this place was for sale. The store was still here, but it was, and it didn't look anything like this. I wouldn't have been able to find it had Lou not reminded me. And so the store was still here, but it was like falling in and dilapidated, and it really just needed to be torn down, but it was for sale. And I remember I called my daddy and I said, hey, Pawpaw's old store, the lot where it's at and what's left of the building is for sale. And I childishly, probably foolishly, even as a college student, said, hey, let's go buy it. And he's like, what would we do with it? And I didn't know. I just wanted it for the nostalgia of it. I just wanted to have that piece of family history preserved, and probably had some fanciful conjecture about, rebuilding it and opening the store and starting over again. But as I sit here now and I'm looking at this helipad, it's just a big concrete slab. I'll probably take a picture of it and insert it into this video. But I'll tell you what I was really reminded of is that stuff doesn't last. And so as much as this store meant to my family at one point in time, and I have pictures of it, I have all sorts of stuff. I'll try to insert some of that in here too. It didn't last. There's nothing left of it. It has been evaporated from the face of the earth. But you know what does last? Memories. Lou, the nice guy that I just met right up there at the corner, he remembered coming to this store. That memory lasted for him. I remember coming here in college. That memory lasted for me. And so part of what that's helping me to remember is to spend time with my kids, not buy them stuff. And so I just spent 3 hours with Bay. She's coming from Auburn. Ole Miss played Auburn at Auburn. She was coming from Auburn today. She was trying to get to church on time, but she didn't make it, and that's okay. And so we went to the Huddle House with her and her friend Hannah. Hannah's a sweet girl from Macomb, Mississippi. They're roommates. Bay's been really blessed with some great roommates. I've told y'all about her other roommate, Matt, and she's just been really fortunate in that regard. But anyway, Hannah and Bay and we just met up. I said, hey, y'all are coming this way. I'm kind of coming that way. I'll go out of my way a little bit and let's just visit. And I really thought we might visit for 30 minutes. We spent 3 hours sitting in the booth at Huddle House drinking sweet tea. The nice folks in the Sylacauga Huddle House, by the way, are great because they just let us sit there. They weren't mad that we were taking up their space. I tipped them $20. I felt like that was probably a good tip for sitting there for 3 hours. I hope it was enough because I know we took that table from them. But anyway, man, I am so blessed. To have that relationship with my daughter. I kind of hurt a little bit because I didn't have that relationship with my dad. And I'd give every bit of the stuff. I don't have much stuff with my dad's, but I'd give every bit of that stuff away for just 3 hours. But I'd also give every bit of the stuff I have away now if it meant that I could keep my relationship with my daughters, because I'm really fortunate. But the point is, I just want to underscore, a building is gone, an entire building, a huge building. It was a beautiful building too. It's completely gone. Stuff doesn't last. Memories do. Try to spend that time. Spend that time with your kids and your grandkids. That's what's valuable to them. You can buy them toys, you can buy them cars, you can buy them whatever. It doesn't last. And when you're dead and gone, that's not what they'll cling to. They'll cling to other things. I'm going to go from here. My granddad had a little fishing cabin down the road. If you've ever read some of my stories about my granddad, they all took place at that fishing cabin. So I'm going to go try to find it. Maybe we'll do a little video there too. Sorry, y'all, that I got so emotional. Love y'all. Have a good day. That was kind of powerful for me. I can't lie to you. I was overrun with emotion when I got to my pawpaw's little lake cabin. It's not quite a cabin. It's all changed, but I recognized it, and the Lord, it was just, I'm telling you, when I saw it, I wasn't sure, and I just had this peace about it. I thought, that's it. And so I pulled in the driveway. Well, actually, I kind of pulled around the circle one time, and I was a little bit nervous and apprehensive, and there was a guy in his yard looking at me like, like I'd be looking at somebody driving through my neighborhood like I was doing, and so I made the circle, and I came back, and I thought, well, I'm gonna stop. So I pulled in the driveway, and it didn't really look like anybody was gonna be home, but I rang the doorbell anyway, and Miss Corky Edmondson opened the door, and she was just the sweetest lady, y'all. She was so gracious and so hospitable, and it was just such a blessing to me too that she knew my grandfather, and she told me some stories about what she remembered of him. And of course, he's much older than her, but she still remembered a few things, and that was just a true blessing in and of itself. And so I rang the doorbell, and I thought, there's probably nobody home, and the sweetest little lady answered the phone, and that was Miss Corky. And not only that, but here's the great thing: you have all sorts of stories about my grandfather, don't you? So I asked her if she'd share one or two, and she's a little bit camera shy, but she told me she would. She's let me look around the house, and it's been such a powerful experience for me. I'm just so grateful that you've let me come and visit with you. And
You're more than welcome.
And I'd love for you just to share one or two stories about my grandfather, just so because I have my memories, but I don't get to reach out and have those kind of relationships anymore. So if you share one, that'd be great.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was telling him that when I was a little girl, my daddy bought calf feed from his granddad. And Mama would tell him, now, Clarence, you get 2 or 3 sacks, that's the same pattern, because the sacks were material. Well, they were feed sacks, but, if you got enough light, Mama could make one of us a dress.
That's right. So. Because the feed sacks had they might have flower patterns or something like that on them.
Right. And so,
that was that was something the seed makers did to get people to buy their seed. And so your mama made dresses from seed bought at my granddaddy's store.
Yeah.
How about
she
that?
sure did. There was 3 of us girls, and sometimes we'd all have one just alike. But yeah, she'd make us little skirts sometime, and sometimes little blouses and dresses.
Yeah.
But she would tell Daddy, you make sure you get some of them alike.
That's right. That's good.
But I was also telling him his granddad did a lot of things for people that a lot of people didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
He helped a lot of people.
Of course, I always thought he was a good man, but he was my granddad. You know?
You were supposed to.
That's right.
But you were right. He was a good man.
Well, that certainly makes my heart feel good.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah. Do you remember ever going to the store yourself?
Oh, yeah. He'd usually give us a piece of bubble gum or
Right.
something like that, you know.
So,
the little Hershey's Kisses used to be about that big.
Right.
Get you a couple Hershey's Kisses. It was just like that to all the kids, you know.
My daddy, he used to love it. He would tell me about going in and getting candy out of the candy jars.
Yeah.
And he loved it too.
Yeah, it was all in jars, and you could see it, which kind you wanted.
Yeah. Well, Miss Corky, you are such a blessing to me today.
Oh, well, I'm glad I was home.
Me too. I'm so thankful. I'm excited I got to see it all. I'm excited I learned a few things, and I think the Lord's using this to teach me a little bit. You know, that I have great memories at my grandfather's lake house, and they flooded out of me when I got there, and I shared a few of those while I was recording. She was so sweet just to let me record. And so the water really is down now. I will tell you that so there used to be a pier. I think it was right here.
Over there.
Is it over there? Okay.
On the other side of the boat.
I knew it was separate from the boathouse.
Used it, I think.
Okay. And that was
That's what somebody said. It was real long too.
It was, yeah. It went way out there. And that was because we used to fish off the end of that pier. Can I go look in the boathouse?
You sure can. You certainly can. I'm sorry about this.
No, don't you apologize. And please, I don't want you to come down here and fall now.
Oh,
I remember when the mayflies hatched.
oh, that's the only thing I don't like about you.
He had a big light on the end of that pier, and he'd turn it on. It was like a big street lamp. And when the mayflies hatched, we'd go down there and we'd fish all night long, catch just more brim than I could remember. I mean, you wouldn't have thought there was that many fish in this lake. It was great. And the boathouse looks almost identical, although this roof was not here when I was a kid, but everything else looks just like it did back then.
Yeah, we kept saying we was going to record.
And she was so sweet just to let me record and take pictures, and she took a picture with me. And anyway, but I was reminded again, just like I said from visiting the store, that it's just stuff. And what's so valuable to me are those memories. And certainly, like walking in his old boathouse and walking down that concrete sidewalk, it's crazy, but that concrete sidewalk is the most valuable thing there to me, because that's where some really precious memories happen. My grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and the last time that he and I ever went fishing together, we went right around the bend here, and I thought I was going to catch my first bass. And for a young boy, catching a bass is a rite of passage.
Right.
And so the bass broke the line. And all I did was complain for 2 hours about that fish. And we were walking right up this path from the boathouse, and he stopped and he turned around, and he knew he had Alzheimer's, and I didn't know. And he stopped, he turned around and he said, "Son," he said, "life is like running through a forest. And if you spend your whole life looking back over your shoulder, you'll run smack dab into a tree." And he was telling me in his own way, you missed it because you were so consumed by looking back over your shoulder at that fish. And to this day, that's part of why I'm emotional, is because I regret that. But after that, he really went down quick, and that was really the last time he ever got to spend time together. So all the memories came back of us fishing, standing on the end of that pier, Just so much. And my pawpaw was good to spend time with me. I didn't see him but once or twice a year, but he was always good to spend time with me. And so we used to, that little boat launch right there, we used to, pawpaw had a boat. He kept it in the shed over there, but every once in a while he'd want to take it out. So he'd motor over here and we'd get the trailer and we'd pull it up right there and then we'd clean the boat out. That was what and then he'd put it, and I think he saved that project for when I got here.
Because he knew you liked it.
That's right. Yeah, and he know I liked. And I remember one time he was in the boat with me, but one time he let me drive the boat from the boathouse to here, and probably if I remember, I think I was even sitting in his lap. But anyway, so you said
that was a big deal.
It was a huge
deal.
Sure,
it was.
But you said people have told you that this boat ramp is the best boat ramp on the lake.
On the lake.
How about that?
Sure have.
Well, that was built by my pawpaw, Marvin Merrill.
Yeah, I knew Mr. Marvin built it.
Great experience. I'm so thankful. So, sometimes you wonder about why am I doing this? Why am I going to Harpersville? Of course, I felt led. I knew God was, I prayed about going to First Baptist Harpersville to preach this morning. And what I didn't realize is certainly God intended for me to deliver a message to those people, and such a sweet people they are. I'm going to include some pictures there. Pastor Brother Larry and his beautiful wife, and my friends David and his wife and their son, just great people. And so it was such a blessing for me to be there and to have dinner on the grounds. We ate. It was one of those fantastic Southern meals, where everybody, we call them potlucks, where everybody brings a little bit of something and you just get a little bit of everything till your plate's overflowing. But I still kind of thought, well, this was a lot. Lord, what are you trying to put on me? I didn't get done with the rodeo till close to 1 o'clock last night. And I found rest in that church this morning. I really did. I was exhausted, but I found rest in that church. I felt like I was in the company of family. But I see now, I think the real reason that he had me come up here was to go through this experience, right? To learn these valuable lessons about how stuff's not important, and or to be reminded of it anyway, and just to experience, two different people. The only two people I've talked to in town, other than the lady at the gas station who I paid for my gas, two different people knew my grandfather, right? And had great things to say about him, talked about what a kind man he was and their memories. And so it really just touches me. I've been calling my Aunt Diane. Hey, Aunt Diane, I know you'll see this. And we've been talking through it. I sent her a bunch of pictures and a bunch of videos, and she's all excited. And she lives up in Moulton, Alabama, and she hadn't been here in a long time either, but I called her to get her to help me remember where everything was. And so it's just been a great day all the way around, really touching day. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to get to come do this. So I'm going to close out. I'm going to leave it with y'all. I do love y'all, and I want you to know that, I hope that, I hope I don't, sometimes I think, well, you're just a fool, Walt, making these videos. People don't care. This is stupid. But I feel led to do it. And so I hope it means something to you. I hope it touches you in some way. I hope it encourages you or inspires you. And, if you've been fighting with family over stuff, it's just stuff, put it aside and get back to loving each other. If you have been, closed a portion of your life away and hadn't gone back to revisit it, go revisit it. This was a fantastic occasion for me. Just warms my heart so much, and especially, you never know what God has in store, right? So I got to meet Miss Corky, and that was such a blessing, I'm telling you. And even Lou at the gas station, he was such a blessing. Just good people here in Fayetteville, Alabama, and in Harpersville, Alabama. So anyway, I hope that y'all appreciate what I'm doing. I hope I'm not a fool, right? Maybe I am. If I am, just ignore me. But I do love y'all, and I am grateful. So y'all have a good day. I'm gonna go home to Andalusia. I got a 3-hour drive, so I'm headed that way now. All right, y'all have a great day.